Well, hey everybody, it's Barry Kleiman. Following up on the next one in LinkedIn's 26 most asked interview questions. This one is interesting because it is, I believe, number 13. But according to LinkedIn, and again, LinkedIn ranked these things, but according to LinkedIn, twice as many people viewed an answer to this question than a previous question. So I'm not sure how they get the metric of which is 12, 13, but again, a lot of people were interested, more people were interested in the answer to this question than the previous one. And again, I want to suggest that you watch all these videos because you're going to find, I don't want to call them redundancies. I think you're going to find they will seem redundant to you, but I want to ingrain upon you some redundant thoughts. Okay, you have to have a platform from which you're operating, and one of the thoughts is don't be soup du jour. Don't be try to drum up a different recipe for each interview you go to and try to guess what the person wants to know. You'll see this throughout all the threads. I believe that's why I hate interview tips. They're so non-contextual, right? And if he says this, you say that, and blah blah blah. How do they know? So, as I like to say all the time, I'm certainly writing about it in this new book I'm writing called Successful Interviewing. Um, there's only one possible constant in every interview, and that's you. Your platform again, your truth, your authenticity. So here we are again. So again, watch them all if you will, and you're going to hear this again and again. And I hope it basically helps tattoo in your brain some of these what I'm going to call principles of how to go through interviewing and successful interviewing. Um, yeah. So anyway, today's is the same, right? And you'll see me talk about this in many of the interviews. This is a tough question, and I understand why 250,000 people wanted to view the reply. Tell me about a time you surpassed people's expectations. As I've said before, they mean personally, professionally, avocationally, as a parent, as a husband, as a friend, as a brother, the list goes on, right? And you could answer in any of those ways. And someone might say, well, you can't do that because of this. Maybe they're right. But unless you know something hard evidence, about the person you're meeting with or the people you're meeting with, and they're looking for a particular answer in a particular context, face facts, you're guessing about what it is they want to hear. So you may as well make this about your time when people spoke highly of you, that you surpass people's expectations and tell the truth, right? Again, I keep coming back to it. I'm sorry. It's the only way I know. It's the only way to add a constant to this otherwise impossible algorithm to figure out because you're talking to people, one person to the other. One day they like chocolate, one day they like vanilla. You've got to be the constant. So, I mean, me personally, I could answer. The first thing that came to my mind when I saw this question was when back in 1997, a long time ago, obviously, I walked into the headmaster at the school where my kids were going, and I told her I wanted to start a basketball program. There was nothing at the school, no interscholastic sports, nothing. And as we like to say, Dr. Singer didn't know if the ball was blown up or stuffed. She knew nothing about basketball. But she said, sure, do what you want. You'll never get the parents to take the kids off school grounds. And you'll never get more than 12 kids to show up for practice the first day. And we had 40 kids show up the first day. And the parents embraced the program that we started. I'm not bragging. I really did exceed expectations, in many ways my own, really. Not my hopes, but my expectations, certainly my wife's and certainly Dr. Singer's. And, in many ways that um, put my own life back on track. I'd known I wanted to coach since I was 18, and then I think I was in my late 40s and hadn't done it. But anyway, that's what first comes to mind. Um, I could bring up expectations I exceeded when I went broke back in 2001, and was able to pull myself and my business and my family's financial situation from the ashes, and kind of get reborn. I was doubting myself, and I know, there were a lot of doubters around. It was a scary time. I exceeded expectations there. Two different things, right? Um, I just had a lunch, just came back from a lunch, and I was introducing a client to a potential board member. And when we left, he said, you did a really nice job. I think I exceeded his expectation. I'm not trying to brag, I'm answering the question. So, what you have to do, one more time, you're going to see this in all the previous interviews and probably all the future interviews, is you have to get context on some of these super nebulous questions. And when you get context, if you're able to get context, and you could ask very simply, in what regard? Do you mean personally? Do you mean professionally? Do you mean most recently? Whatever. When you do that, some people on the other side of the desk, I actually feel terrible repeating this because I've said it before in earlier interviews. Some people on the other side of the desk will take umbrage with it. They'll be pissed off. I just asked you a question. Just answer the question. It's hard to answer that question authentically, um, and unless you have context, right? And because if you answer it in a business context, and they were trying to find something about you personally, or that you don't care about your personal life, then you blew it there, right? In other words, you're answering business, you're guessing what they want to hear, and they were really hoping that the thing that you exceeded expectation with is with your kid's birthday party or something. You don't know. So you've got to kind of grab context. And when you do, you turn this question into a conversation, not an interrogation. Again, I've said it before. If you've watched these before, I apologize. And then give them an answer, right? And as I just told you, again, I've said this before, try to provide context in story form. My story, like I told you, was I started a program at a school where there was none, and the headmaster mistress didn't know anything about the game, and we got wildly notorious. Won a league championship the next year, undefeated, blah 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 blah. We exceeded expectations. That was a long time ago, but it's in my mind. It changed the course of part of my life. So that's it. Context, story, authenticity, conversations, not interrogations. The only way to get to some of these and answer them effectively, and provide some constant, is you. You have to be the constant. So I hope this makes sense, everybody. Again, one more time, feel free to write to me. Uh, those are my stories, and I'm sticking to them, and I hope this helps you. Please always feel free to write. Okay, I'll put it in the notes, my email address in the notes. Thank you. Stay safe. I hope you're all having a great day.